Well, it's that time of year again to do the TF Gear DVD, and this year we've come down to the Quarry in Essex. It's a water that I've fished a few times in the winter. I think I did 4 or 5 sessions on here, so I know a little bit about it. And I happen to know that this swim called the Dugout in the middle of this straight bank's quite a reliable swim. There's a big island out there at about 100-110 yards, and I know that the fish like to go round and round that, use it as a bit of a roundabout. So I'm going to start off on here, put a couple of baits under the island and one sort of halfway, see how we get on. That's the plan anyway. Let's crack on. Right, first 2 I've just whacked out there on singles towards the island. Well, one towards that island and one towards that island. But I don't want to fish all 3 of them the same way and just ask one question. So I'm going to put this halfway out. And there is I say I fished here before, and there's a sort of a clear gravel stream going through, sort of halfway across. So, bit of a tree night there, but there you go. Oh, nice and firm. Yeah, that's nice and clear. I'll just clip that up in a line clip. And I've got the distance. And a big old bed of weed this side of it. Yeah, that'll do. When I've got everything sorted and all set right, I'm going to, I've got the old camera float with me, so FishSpy. So I'll pop that out there and have a better look in a bit. But just want to get some baits in the water to start with and sort of sit and watch for a while. See if anything shows before I put too much in the way of bait out there. Always worth doing an hour or so, just 3 hook baits. Watch the water, see what it's telling you. Once you do invest in your bait, stick it all in, you feel a bit tied to your swim and your spots really, but at least I'm fishing while I'm watching. Cattle on. Okay, this is the flat out Super King pillow, and it really is a Super King pillow. It's massive and it's very, very, very comfortable. One side's got a fleece cover, the other side's got a nice cotton cover, so you can take your pick. I like the cotton side. A lot of people like a bit of fleece. It's huge, fits right around your neck, so you've got a nice neck support. Soft, luxurious, proper night's kit. It's also got 2 Velcro straps on the back, so you can just put it over the end of the bed chair, Velcro it onto the frame. Like I say, takes up the whole thing, nice and deep, so your shoulder goes under it. You get full support for a proper night's sleep. I'm liking him. Can't wait till bedtime. Right then, I've sat about for a bit and watched, haven't seen any fish show. So I'm going to have a little go with the FishSpy, just have a look and see what's actually on the bottom. I found that one little bit earlier, the area that was harder than the rest. But it'd be nice just to actually see what's down there for real. There's quite a few misconceptions about the FishSpy really, to be honest. A lot of people think, as the name might suggest, that it is for fish finding. But it's not really. It's primarily designed for feature finding, and that's what I use it for. You know, if you think you find a little spot on the bottom, put on the FishSpy, clip it up, put this back in the same spot, and it'll either show you from the top exactly what's below, or if the water's too murky or too deep, you can press record, take it down, film what's on the bottom, only in a small radius like this. Come back up, and while it's still in situ, you can play it back onto your phone or iPad or whatever, so you can actually see the reality of what's down there. And for me, that's the main use. It's a feature finding tool. In fact, more than that, it's more of a confirmation tool. I do my feature finding with just a lead on a braided main line, and then when I find something of interest, I clip this on, put it back on the spot, and just get that confirmation that it is what I thought it was. It is stones, it is mussels, you know. And to be honest, I reckon, I don't know, 75% of the time you're wrong. What you think you found, or at least I am, what I think I found isn't what I found when I have a proper look at it. So I'm gonna have a chuck about. Right, I've had a chuck about with just a lead and found a little bumpety bit out there. So I've got the float on. We're going to have a look and see. This is a proper tight little swim, this is. Take that out the clip. Let her up. There it is. You want to just balance them so that there's as much out the water as possible, but they're still completely vertical. That'll give you the better signal. Grab my phone. Let's have a look, see what we got. Okay, there we go. You can see it's a little bit deeper there, so that's a little bit murky. So what I'm going to do is press the record. That should glow red, and I'm going to take it down so I can get a closer look, come back up and see what, because this is sort of much lighter yellow part in the middle there, which may be like a little clear patch or a bit of stones or whatever. Might be a clump of weed. Let's have a look. Okay, so now I've let it back up, we turn the record off. Press the recordings. There's only one, because I just started using it. And see what it was. There he goes, down. Weed. And that suitably answers that question. I did let it up slowly so you get a better, wider view as it comes up. But that is quite thick weed. Yeah, I wouldn't say that that's anything special. That's the coloured bit I could see that I thought was maybe gravel, but it is just a huge clump of weed. Well, I learnt one thing, don't put a bait there. Okay, now that looks a little bit more like it. That was about another 10 yards closer. The bottom comes up into quite sharply in little humps, about 3 foot deep on the top, 4 foot maybe. You can see plenty of stones and clear on there. Worth a little sprinkling of bait on that, I reckon. One little tip when you're using your FishSpy, an alternative use for it if you like, rather than just feature finding, is bait checking. If you turn up on the water and you're going in a known swim, a top swim, a swim where you're following someone into a swim, that's the ideal sort of example, and you're thinking, I know they've baited up because they've been fishing there, is there anything left? So quite often, if you're on a water that you know where the spots are, there's a fair chance you know where the guy before you's been fishing. So put your camera out on the spot before you start, take it down there, film it, let it up, unless you can see it from the surface, but either way, get yourself a good view of the main spot in the lake, see what bait's left. Before you go charging in there and put out 20 spoms full of bait, you might look down there and find that all his bait's still there, and it might make you think, oh, actually, do I want to fish this swim just because it's the top swim? Or shall I go somewhere else? Because obviously, you know, what he's put out hasn't been out. Or if it's all gone, even if he hasn't caught and the spot's been polished, you think, well, maybe his rigs were wrong, and you know it's time to bait up. Okay, here we have the Hardcore Desert boot. It's a high boot, so you've got a lot of ankle support. It's got a good lacing system that tucks in nice and comfortable. It's 100% waterproof, but they're breathable, so your feet won't sweat up. Very importantly, they've got a lot of grip on the bottom for muddy banks. All in all, very comfortable boot. Here we have the hardcore trail boot, which is a lower boot for those that prefer a lower boot, like myself, to be honest. Leave them pulled open at night, they're easy to slide into if you get a bite in the darkness. They're 100% waterproof, very, very water repellent actually, which is obviously always handy for a fishing boot. You've got a fantastic grip on the bottom for muddy banks, and a nice bit of padding around the ankle. If, again, like me, you do a lot of walking and tree climbing and that, very important, protect your feet. Padded interior, nice shock absorber on the bottom, and they're breathable as well, so everything you need for a carp fishing boot. Well, it's still pretty quiet out there. I haven't seen anything jump yet. I thought it might be a little bit more lively, seeing as we're in sort of second week of April now. When I fished down here in the winter, I see a few show, to be honest. I didn't do much on here. I've done about 6 sessions, I think, on here in the past. Sort of Christmas time through into January. A couple of nice results though. In fact, I had my biggest ever January carp out of here. I was fishing down the bottom end there, just close in next to some snags. I'd seen a fish, I'd heard a fish in the night. I was just laying in bed, like reading my Kindle, and I heard a fish bosh out, and I jumped out, but I was a bit blinded, you know, because I've been sort of looking at an illuminated screen. So I stood out there and heard it come out again and run down, sort of figured out roughly where it was under these snags along the margins. Next morning, stood out there and just kept an eye on the spot, and eventually saw one poke its head out, so I moved down there. And I think I had 3 that night. I had a double, a 20, and a 44-pound mirror. Which I think is actually the biggest mirror in the lake. It's not the biggest fish, there's a common that's bigger, it's probably about 45, 46. Yeah, a fish called shoulders, massive, great thing it was. Cradle for January. Yeah, I had 3 that session, and in a previous session I'd had 4 from up the other end. So I think they are sort of shoal fish in here. I think if you get 1, the chances of another one straight after are really good. It's just getting that first one, isn't it? Come on. It'll come. Okay, here we have the TF Gear chill out sleeping bag. As you can see, it's got this nice windproof outer, which is nice and lightweight, which takes the bulk away from the bag. But inside, it's got a nice fleece lining, which keeps you super warm in the winter. But the materials it's been constructed from mean you can use it all year round. So in the summer, it's not going to stifle you, it will still breathe. It fits to the bag nice as well, which is very, to the bed, sorry, nice, which is very important. You've got this clip-on strap that goes underneath, but you've also got a hood that goes over both the head end and the foot end. Stops it moving about in the night. You know, if you're twisting and turning, your bag stays put. We also do it in a giant size for those of you that like these great big wide bed chairs. Those are a little bit bigger than me, I suppose. But whatever size you choose, it is a fantastic bag. It'll keep you lovely and warm in the winter, cool in the summer, and it doesn't weigh a ton. Perfect. Right, we've just had a pickup right next to that island. It was banged up in a bit of weed to start with, but he's out now. Nice day bite as well. Cameraman's gone AWOL, so I've had to flick it on myself, so I'm not really sure if it's working or not, but hopefully it is. Oh, here he is. Cameraman's back. Oh, there he is. He's a nice common. First of many, hopefully. Although just this one will do to start with. This was the right hand end of the island, this one. Come on, baby. We got him. Result. Lovely job. So here we go. First one of the trip. Lovely job. £20 and a naturally little bit, which is the technical term for £20.4. There he is. Off the mark, £20.4 common. Perfect. Perfect little start. Thank you very much, Mr. Fish. There he goes. Back where he belongs. Cool, that water's cold. Ta-da, mate. It's freezing in there. Oh. Well, that was a result, getting a fish so early in the session. Christened my new landing net as well. It's always very important, christening a new bit of kit. It's a nice net actually, it's the DL Black Edition net, it's a new one. It's a nice sturdy net, I do like a decent handle on a net. But it's nice and light, lovely soft mesh. Got a little slot in there as well for an isotope. Yeah, I like that, nice little bit of kit that is. All christened and ready to go for the next one.
Right, Dave, one area that I see anglers skimp on all the time, they could have thousands of pounds worth of kit in their swim and they don't seem to pay much attention to clothing, but it's so important, especially if you're spending any period of time on the bank. I know this is a new suit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just talk me through it.
Yeah, this is a new Banshee range of clothing, and you are right, you know, if you're not warm and dry and you're not comfortable, and if you're not comfortable, you're not fishing properly, are you? Yes, this is a two-piece, jacket, trousers, it's fleece lined, really nice and warm, it is nice and warm.
It's not too thick a fleece though, is it? So it's kind of a bit of an all-rounder.
No, you'd be comfortable walking around the lake in it.
Yeah.
If you do go for a long walk and you start to get really hot, it's got these vents similar to skiing jackets, so you can actually just
a little bit of
vent
ventilation
off the heat, extra heat from it. Pocket design on this is really nice. Quite often you get your normal flat pockets, and if you're out there in the pouring rain, the water's going in. If you put your hand in your pockets, it's going down your sleeves and in. But these are storm proofs, that they're side mounted with this little sleeve over there, so even if you've got your hands in there, the water's coming straight off, it's not running in.
Cool.
Which is nice little design, and it's also got those on the side pockets on the trousers as well.
I know when you were putting this on a little while ago, we were wondering whether it was going to fit you, but the trousers are obviously elasticated, aren't they?
Yeah, so these are the medium size. And yeah, when you look at the size, you think, oh, I don't know, but they've got loads of stretch, which is great for when you're going up and down doing bobbins and just general stuff.
Or fish picks if you're lucky. Yeah.
Or like that with a fish.
Reinforced knees on the trousers as well, I noticed those.
Yeah, they're a good little touch on there.
I like the fact that it's obviously waterproof and the material feels really robust, but it's not too big and bulky. So you could, if you wanted to, you could layer up under it.
Yeah.
But if even in the spring or the autumn, you could just wear it normally. Couldn't you?
Yes, definitely. You know, you put it on a sort of, like say, spring and autumn evening. If you had just a t-shirt or a light top on, you just chuck that over the top. And,
brilliant.
You know, and you sorted. I also like the fact that the hood is hidden away within the collar, because quite often, you know, you get like I have at the moment. You've got a hoodie, you know, and you've got something like you have. You end up with hoods all over the place. So I don't like that.
Big and bulky,
it drives me mad. We like loads of hoods around there, so that zips away and it's there if you need it.
Cool.
elasticated cuffs and all the little bits to keep all the wind and weather out.
Excellent.
Obviously waterproof.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a lot of good if it wasn't.
No.
And like you say, light enough to move about in, but nice and warm.
Cool, like that. That's a Banshee suit. Yeah?
It's a Banshee suit. Yeah.
Brilliant. Right, Dave, fish care.
Yep.
One subject that should be close to every angler's heart.
Should indeed.
There's always been a little bit of a thing with mats, though, hasn't that? You want the biggest one possible in terms of protection, but then it becomes a chore carrying it around.
It does.
And somewhere along the line, there's a compromise. I know you've got this new, what's it again?
It's hardcore pack-away
mat.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
And this kind of bridges the gap a little bit, doesn't
it? Does, yeah. As you see, it's not massive when it's packed away.
Yeah.
So it's easy transportable. Yeah, it doesn't take up a lot of room on the barrow, and also if you're going off stalking or whatever, you know, moving about.
But
you're not carting a huge, great big thing with you.
The clever bit is how it actually goes together, isn't it?
It's a lot more than it looks. Out of there. Now, there's your actual face mat.
Right.
This bit in the sleeve in the back there is.
Oh, okay. So it's basically like sort of concertina, isn't it?
Just twist together.
Yeah.
Slides in there.
A bit like those sort of pop-up shelters that you used to get. Yeah.
Yeah, the worst bivvies ever. So there you go. That's your cradle part. And you literally just fold out your padding, and pop that in the bottom, and you've got yourself
That's it. Job done.
high-sided, safe mat. You know, if
You
you've got
imagine
fish
that?
flapping about in there, it can't go anywhere, it can't get out.
No, nice high walls, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're under quite a bit of tension as well, so they're not just going to collapse
No,
or anything.
not at all.
Oh, that's really good. If you imagine actually having to carry that around in that state, you wouldn't, would you?
No.
But yeah, pop it out
No,
that
compared
back.
to just like a fold-up mat, which is basically the old style, would be just like the inner.
Yeah.
At least you've got that added protection as the outside.
And then in reverse, basically, you take that out,
take it out,
twist it
twist
together,
it around, and put it back in.
away.
It comes in two sizes. This is the standard one.
So there's another one bigger, is
Yeah.
there?
So just pick, you know, the sort of fish that you're targeting. Really, you know, if you're on a water with huge carp, a bit like this, you'd probably use the larger one. But for your standard, normal sort of day ticket fish,
it's still plenty big enough to get.
You'd get a big
fair
old,
size carp in that, wouldn't you?
carp in that one. You really would.
Yeah.
And packs away easy, and there's no, because it's not actual proper rigid sides. You know, if you do have a carp, giving it that, there's nowhere to damage them.
Yeah.
You know, it is a very, very safe.
And also,
mat.
if you do happen to compress it a bit while you're picking the fish up, it pops back up again, doesn't it? It's not like some of them. Once they collapse, they just stay collapsed and lose their shape.
And once they've been collapsed a few times, they do lose their shape and sort of have fold spots on them and that. But no, this is always going to ping back. So it's always going to be that shape.
I notice it's quite lightweight, but pegging points if it is really windy and whatnot.
Yeah, so. If you're in a swim, you know, and not moving about, and this is your main mat, and it blows up a bit, then a little peg in the end is always a good idea.
Brilliant. Cool. I like that.
Yeah, so do I. Nice bit kit.
I don't know when, but sometime towards the back end of last year, I was fortunate enough to go down to Horseshoe Lake and was shown the first kind of finished version, if you like, of the FishSpy.
Yeah.
Not had a lot of experience of it since. We've had one in for the magazine, gave it away as a competition prize, which went down really well. But I know you've used it a lot.
I have, yeah.
And just talk me through how it works from a feature finding point of view.
Right. Well, that's the main sort of use for it, you know. Being as it's called FishSpy, I think that might put some people in the wrong direction. Really, it is a feature finding tool.
Right.
Personally, the way I use it is I don't have the device on every cast. I don't turn up at the lake and just start chucking it about as a marker float. I don't use a marker float. I have a lead running with a clip.
Yep.
And then I'll cast around and I'll find a feature, or I'll find something that I think is a feature, and then I'll clip up the reel, bring it in, attach the float. So for me, it's more of a feature confirmation tool.
Right.
That way, you're not risking anything happening by maybe casting into a snag that you didn't know was there. You're not making a great big disturbance by casting it 30, 40, 50 times. But once you've found something that you think's worth investigating, you clip on the float, cast it out there, establish a connection, and if the water's clear enough or shallow enough, you'll be able to see it from the surface.
Right.
So when it's on the surface, you've got a live view. you're streaming straight
As you
to
say,
your
so when you say
device.
establish a connection, that's back to your phone or
That's
iPad
to your phone or your
tablet,
iPad, which is a wireless connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Bluetooth, it's a wireless.
And it actually creates its own Wi-Fi almost, doesn't it? So
the device itself is the Wi-Fi sender.
Yeah.
It doesn't rely on, talking to people about it, there is a slight bit of confusion. People think, oh, you need a phone signal,
Sure.
you need wireless. You don't need anything.
Not the case, is it?
This is like your modem. This is your Wi-Fi sender, and your device that you've paired to it when you first got it is your Wi-Fi receiver.
Right.
And it
So no matter where you are,
doesn't matter.
you can use
You
it.
could be anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're here, if you're in France, you could be on the moon.
Timbuktu, yeah.
It doesn't
Got
matter
you.
as long as this is sending, your phone is receiving.
And you set that up when you first get the float, obviously.
When you first get
pretty
the float,
simple, isn't it?
Yeah, you put your device, you put the code in there.
Yeah.
It is very simple. You add it as a new device on
Yeah.
your Wi-Fi settings. You get a code on the box which you punch in exactly as it is. It's a capital F, FishSpy hyphen, and then
Sure.
you get a number, and that means nobody else can connect to your device.
Right, brilliant.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
paired to your specific device, and then that's yours, and that's yours, and away you go.
Sure. Okay, so back to the actual feature finding
Yeah.
itself then.
So you found something you want to investigate, you put it out on the surface, you connect to it, and then it will come up with what it's seeing through the lens down through the water.
Right, so like a live view.
A live view
Yeah.
of exactly what's below it. Now obviously that is dependent on depth and clarity
Yeah,
of
sure.
water. Yeah, if it's cloudy water then you're not going to be able to see down. So if you can see, all well and good, you're there. You can see what's below it. If it's what you want to fish on, you can cast next to it, bait up round it, jobs are good.
Job's done, yeah.
If for some reason, depth or clarity, you can't see, on your device, whether it be a pad or a phone, there'll be on the page for the FishSpy, there'll be an icon which is like a movie camera. You press that button and it'll glow red. It's now recording
Okay.
into an internal memory card,
Yep.
which is inside the device. You can then take it down. As you take it down, you'll lose Wi-Fi connection. There is no such thing as underwater Wi-Fi.
No.
It doesn't work. Carries through air, not through water.
But it's still recording.
But it's still recording.
Yep.
So you go down, you've got no signal on your phone now, it just stop. To the bottom and then let it up. What I do is I let it up a foot, wait, 30 seconds say, let it up 2 foot, let it up 3 foot, because what you're getting is a cone from the angle of the lens of
so
the
it's a
camera.
bit more panoramic,
So
if you
yeah,
like.
when
Yeah.
you're right down there, you'll probably better get a picture of a piece of weed or bottom
Yeah,
that
sure.
close. Yeah?
Yeah.
And as you come up, you'll get more and more and more, and it will spread out. And then obviously you'll get out of vision because of the depth
Yep.
or the clarity of the water. So you return to the surface, and the first thing you do is wait, because it will try and re-establish a connection on its own.
Yep.
Yeah, and it may take 10, 20 seconds, whatever, but the best thing to do is to be patient, and it will just come up on your phone connected to FishSpy and your number, and then it's running again. If for some reason it doesn't connect after, you think I've waited too long, you can go back in your Wi-Fi settings and check, scan, and as soon as you go on Wi-Fi settings, it will scan, and then it will re-find it,
Sure.
and you go back in. So once it's up and it's reconnected, so it's still in situ. So you haven't had to bring it in. You haven't. If you are on a nice spot, you haven't lost that spot.
Yeah.
So you're still above that spot. You press the red movie button to stop the recording.
Right.
It's still recording, and then you go onto on the opposite side. There's the settings. You go into there, and that's got your recordings all listed. All the
So it'll
recordings
save
you've
them as a
done.
file.
It will save them all as
Right,
a file,
yeah.
and you go onto the most recent one, which is usually the top one, and press play. Or select, and then it will come up, and then you press play,
Wow.
and it will show you what it's recorded while it was down there, while it's still in situ. So you've got a perfect picture of what is in the bottom. And again, if it's a spot that you want to fish, then your float's still there.
Yeah.
You cast next to your float, bait up round it.
Well, that for me, that's what makes it unique, because there are underwater cameras out
Yes,
there in
there
all
are.
walks of life, not just in fishing.
Yeah.
But none of them have that live view
No,
or
you have
instant
to
playback.
you have
do
to
they?
retrieve
You've basically
them
got to bring it
and
in,
see
plug
what
it
you've
in.
got.
Yeah.
But if you retrieve them and see that you had a nice spot, it's in your hand. It's
Brilliant.
too late then, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But this is still
That's there.
marking
It's
your
still
spot.
doing it.
And if it's not a spot, then you repeat the process.
And obviously we've taken our time explaining it,
Yeah.
but that whole operation of bringing it up, reconnecting,
yeah.
playing your film back, it's going to take seconds, isn't it?
Yeah. Once you've done it once, so you know what you're doing.
Yeah, brilliant. So you get an immediate feedback of what that spot is, and your decision's made one way or the other, isn't it?
Made, and if it's not the spot, then like I say, you repeat the process.
Brilliant.
And try again.
Wow.
Or maybe take it down, bring it in a little bit further. You know, film a little bit more
going.
while it's
You
out
could
there.
pretty
You've got it on. You
map
might as
it
well
all
have
the way back,
Yes,
couldn't
you can. Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
And you can do it by, if you cast to a clip, for example, as your maximum distance, and you film, let it up, and then come down. And if you were to come in 5 turns, for example, and wait and let it up a little bit, and then come in 5 turns and wait and let it up a little bit, when you get it to the bank and you play back your film, if you see a spot on, let's say, your 3rd break, you know, you're watching a movie and it's going along and it's stopping and coming up and then going down and stop, you can think, oh, that's the 3rd break back from the clip.
Yeah.
So you can measure out to your clip and take off 5 turns, re-clip it, 3 lots of 5 turns, sorry, re-clip it, put it out there, and you know you're near enough, and then you can check more accurately the exact spot that you found on the way back. So, you know, there are other ways of sort of using it like that.
It's as close as you're going to get to being out on a boat with a glass bottom bucket, but even better, because then, even in a boat, you can't see beyond a certain depth, can you? With this, just take it straight down there, replay it.
If you're in, whatever, 25 feet of water, or go deeper than that, just for example, 25 feet of water that's not overly clear, you can still go down there, you're going to get something. You know, I've used it in very murky water, you know, really beyond any camera's capability, and yes, you have to get very close to the bottom, but you still get something. You still get something.
So the key is then basically it can film all of that in live while it's got a signal. It goes down,
recording.
You're recording it. As soon as it comes back up, it will start to re-establish that connection.
It will,
give it a few seconds to do so. You can then play it back while it's still out there in situ.
It's still out there.
Brilliant. I don't think it gets a lot better than that.
And if you wanted to, if you were baiting round it, maybe you might want to leave it out there. I mean, it runs for, I think it's 4 to 5 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What,
so
recording?
Recording.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
And it'll hold more than that. I think it holds 7 hours on the card. And then if you want to clear the card or view what's on the card from previous sessions, you just plug it into your PC at home or your laptop or whatever, and then it is just like a camera. You've got loads of video files, and you press and play just like any other device. And if you don't want them, you just do whatever you normally do on your PC, swipe them away or press delete or whatever, or clear your card. And if there's some particular ones that you like, you can save them onto your computer, email them to your friends, or just show your mates when they come around.
Or not.
Or not. Secret spots.
Yeah, you know it. Excellent. Well, that's a great insight. Obviously, like I say, I saw it when it was launched.
Yeah.
But you just get the demos while you're there. We were there for a few hours. I know you've used this over a period of months now.
Yeah. Longer than that. It's more than a year.
What, since first development?
I was involved in the testing process.
Of course, so like the early samples and that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, there you go, straight from the horse's mouth then.
Yeah. Another use for the FishSpy, when you're checking bait, is to check your own bait, you swim as you go. If you have a fish, I'll give you an example. I was on St Ives last summer. I was testing out the FishSpy. I'd had a fish, a 34 pounder I think it was, early hours of the morning. Fish were topping and rolling and fizzing over my spot. I'd only put out 3 pouchfuls of bait, so 30 or 40 baits. I'd had a fish, I didn't want to bait up over their heads while they were still feeding, so I let the bite time go. Later that afternoon, before I set the rigs ready for the next day, I just thought, I'll chuck the old FishSpy out and have a look and see just what sort of devastation they've made down there, expecting to see it absolutely polished where they've been feeding. I put it out there, took a bit of film, let it up, connected, and I could see, I'd say 90% of my bait. So that fish had obviously come in, had half a dozen, I was fishing a pop-up over the top, nailed himself on mine. The rest of the fish had bolted, although there was fish in the swim. That patch had been left totally. So had I not known, I would have put another 3 pouches of bait over the spot. As it was, I knew that it was worth putting a single on top of what was already there and maybe setting up another patch of bait nearby in case that one had been identified as dangerous and was being left alone. But had I not had this, I wouldn't have known. I'd have ended up fishing over twice as much bait as I wanted. So very handy tool for checking not only what bait other people have left in your swim, but your own bait. And for walking around the lake, if you've got spots that you're pre-baiting, maybe you're baiting under a few bushes, but it's not visible, you can literally walk around the lake with your phone, a rod and your camera float, pop it on the spots you baited up the day before, see which ones have been fed on and which ones are still there.
Right, mate, the fact that you've got bright yellow braid there and a spom in your hand suggests to me that this isn't a fishing rod.
Could be a bit of a giveaway, couldn't it?
Yeah, it might just be. Come on then. Spod reel, what's that all about?
Well, I've been after doing a decent, big, chunky spod reel for a while, and now we've got one.
Why is that important?
Because it's a utility reel, it's used all the time. You know, you're whacking out, you're bringing in. A fishing rod, you might cast it out once or twice in a day, you know. A spodding reel, you're using it all the time. So you want a decent,
got to be up to the job,
you want a decent retrieve. You want something that's chunky, big winch on it, you know, that you're just cranking in, casting out, cranking in. It's got a long cast spool on it, you know, so you're going to hit the distance easy enough. But just as importantly, it's got very strong gears in it.
Okay.
You know, so you're not going to strip the gears. It's got a 4.5 to 1 ratio, which is just about ideal.
So that's a lot of line coming in from one turn.
But you don't want too high a ratio because then you're getting finer gears and you've got the chance of stripping the gears. So this is the best sort of blend of the two. A decent speed of retrieve, like I say, with the reliable strong gears, which is the main thing, because that's the job it's got to do.
Yeah,
it's got to cast out well, it's got to have a good line lay, and it's got to have a good, strong, solid retrieve.
And it's got to last as well, hasn't it?
And it's got to last.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets more abuse than all your other reels put together.
Of course it does. Yeah.
You know, it'll get covered in spod mix, and it'll just get used over and over and over.
Cool. And is that part of the DL Black Edition family again?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just quite a nice range of products building up there, isn't it?
It is really. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It goes well with that's the Black Edition Spod. Just all sits in nice if you like it looking nice. It looks nice.
Yeah, it looks the part.
Before
definitely.
I cover it in Spod mix. And
it looks wicked with that yellow line on as well.
Yeah,
to be fair.
it does. That's a nice line. Yeah. It's also got line-friendly, spring-loaded line clips. Very important when you're spodding. Hit the clip, and also it's handy that it's got two, so you can measure it out in finer marks and get it exactly where you want it each time. That line will just ping out of there, no damage whatsoever.
Cool. Right, time on the fashion. I'll let you get on with it.
All right.
So, what sort of range does it work at then, Dave?
It depends. It fluctuates a little bit depending on what device you've got.
Right. Okay.
I use a Samsung phone, which is an Android, which seems to have probably the best signal of the lot, the best range of the lot. Now, I'd say 100 yards. It depends. I mean, atmospherics.
Yeah, sure.
Affects all
same with
Wi-Fi,
anything, isn't it? Yeah.
And the height you are from the water. You know, if you're in a swim that's maybe got like here, that's got steps behind, and you can get 10 foot above the water, that might give you another 10 yards.
Yeah.
You know, because some of the Wi-Fi signals lost bouncing back, and the higher you are, you know, the stronger the signal. So yeah, with an Android, I'd say 100. I mean, I have had. I'm not using this as a. I'm not saying this is how far it will go, but I have had 160 yards with it.
Oh wow. Okay.
You know,
must have been like
I didn't cast it
conditions.
160 yards. I put it around the other side of the lake, and the conditions were perfect.
Right.
I just had the phone in my hand. I thought, oh, I wonder, and it connected. I was wow.
Oh, wow.
But generally, if we say up to 100 metres, you'll be about right. Yeah, and with the Apple products like your iPhones and that, I have an iPhone here, handy. You're going to get less range with this because it's just the way that Apple products work. They drop Wi-Fi when it starts to get to the end of its range.
It starts looking for an
alternative.
alternative.
It looks for an alternative source, whereas the sort of Google products and that, they hold on to it. The Android.
So still
products.
perfectly viable with iPhone, just not quite as much
absolutely.
range.
You're just going to get about 10 yards less. But we do sell as an extra, all right, this little case, just a clip-in case for your iPhone, and it's got a range extender.
Oh, okay.
So you just slide that up, and then that's going to take it into a similar bracket to your other devices.
So no problem there at all.
No problem at all.
Cool. So what sort of range would that probably give you then?
Probably had you the missing 10 yards, really, to be honest. Yeah.
Sure.
Again, it's not something that you can't say for definite an exact range because everything makes a difference. The weather, you know, everything makes a difference. How many other people have got stuff on, whether you've got cables, so, you know, that's Wi-Fi. You know, it's not to do with the float, that is just how Wi-Fi works. It's variable. But we've done a lot of testing with it, and we tend to find that 100 yards for your Androids and 80 yards roughly for your Apple, add that, you're going to get back up 90 to 100 yards. Some days you're going to get a lot more, and some days you might get a little bit less.
100 yards is still a long way.
It's a long way.
A lot of people fail to realise just how far 100 yards is, to be fair.
Further than most people think.
Yeah,
you know, you
definitely.
speak to people and say, I'm casting, how far out? Oh, I'm 120 yards. And you look at the gear and then you look at them cast and you think probably 75, 80. You know,
I've seen it a million times.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you get, yes, you do
it's
get
as far
a
as
fair
most
signal.
people are going to be fishing at any given time.
Yeah.
Right, got a really nice one here, packaged. Even the packaging looks quite nice, to be honest, mate. I think this one might find its way into the boot of my car when we're finished.
I think that's the way it's going, don't you?
I think so, but seriously, what actually comes with it then? So you walk into your shop or you order online, whatever, you buy one of these, what's in there?
What's in the box? Right. You've got obviously, your Marc float. As you can see, it's got a buoyancy aid around it. Now, I use that all of the time.
Right.
I mean, there's a couple of applications where I don't, but in general, that will help you hold it higher in the water when you're coming up to the surface and you want to establish connection.
Sure.
Obviously, the more aerial you've got out of the water,
course,
and it also helps to keep it dead upright.
Right.
And that is a little tip. When you let it up, you don't want a little tiny bit showing. You want as much out. If you can get all the flights out like that, then that's spot on for connection.
And that offers a bit of stability, does it?
Does, it does. And a lot of buoyancy.
Okay.
Also, you will get a boom. This is your lead boom, your lead clip.
So
boom.
when you actually set it up, like
when you set it up, you put your lead
float.
your lead on the bottom there, and that bumps up against your float there. You don't really want a bead or anything there because that's right in your line of sight. Isn't it? Yeah. So that's why we use that. It sits nicely over there. It doesn't get tangled.
Sure.
Up she comes.
Okay.
And you get your charger lead, and you connect. This is your charging and it is, and your data connection.
Right.
So if you want to transfer files onto your computer or look at them on your computer or charge.
Sure. And I presume there's full instructions in there as well?
There's full instructions in there, everything you've got to do, how you set it up, how it works, and it's all at the back and it's inside. Okay. And at the bottom you get your unique code for your original pairing.
For pairing it up.
I'll say again, you have to put in there exactly as it is. You have to use the capital F.
Right.
Yeah. FishSpy, one word, the hyphen, and that number as it is on yours, and that is just for that one single product.
So that means that your device will pair to that float. No one else on the lake who's using one can interfere with that. Okay. Yeah. Brilliant. So it's all there then.
It's all in there.
Okay, mate, so as well as the FishSpy itself, I know you've got a few accessories. Just run me through those quickly.
Yep, there's a few other bits and pieces. This is an iPhone. The iPhone signal isn't as good as the Android, still good but not as good. So we sell this case, which is an extender case, and it's just got a little slide up aerial at the top, and that increases your range and puts it back in the same bracket as everything else.
Right, okay,
so
brilliant.
If you are on an Apple product, you know, we've got a case for all the more modern versions, I think from the 4S upwards, and also for the iPad mini.
Right, great.
Which will extend your range. Spare booms. The booms are designed to break at sort of 35 to 40 pound, probably 35 pound.
Right.
There's a piece of braid inside that coating, so if you do get locked up on the bottom, that's like your weaker link, as long as you're using 50 pound.
So if you've got a nice heavy braid on there, that'll go before the braid does.
So
you still get your float back.
That's it.
Yeah.
Pack of 3 spares there, with your lead clips on the end, and your run ring, you know, your free running ring on the top. Also, spare tops, different coloured tops for different light conditions.
Right, sure.
As you know, if you get, you know, a light ripple and it's that sort of grey light ripple running across the water, black shows up better than anything, and on occasions yellow is better than orange. Okay. It comes with the orange as standard.
And they literally just, not even half turn, is it? Just clip on and clip off, don't they?
Click out.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So they are your main accessories.
How do you actually set it up? Is it just like setting up a marker float?
It is exactly the same as setting up a marker float.
But I know you're quite keen in terms of the actual, some of the gear that's used, aren't you?
Yeah,
for various reasons.
Yes. If we start with the rod, a Spod rod.
Yeah.
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 You don't want it on your normal rod because it's not heavy. You know, a Spod rod's going to give you better distance and going to deal with it better. So you've got a
And
Spod
obviously
rod.
that's not heavy in itself, but you've still got a
It's
lead
not.
to go on
Yeah,
there,
of course
yeah,
you have,
combine
yeah.
those.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So you've got your Spod rod, Spod reel, braid. Essential to use braid, really, and we recommend that you use a 50-pound braid or above.
Okay.
Which doesn't hinder your casting much because you get very fine diameter. It doesn't
on
matter
braid
if
still
it's a
thin, isn't
floating braid, so you
Yeah.
get a much finer diameter for a stronger braid.
Sure.
So you've got a 50-pound braid, that will come down, and then that will go through the ring on your
On the boom
that
section.
comes with it,
Yeah.
and then that will tie directly to your float.
Yeah.
You want to trim the end of the knot off nice and neatly because again that will
So it
pick
doesn't
up in
impede
the,
the-
so you
this-
don't when you look
yeah.
through the
Yeah.
picture you're not just seeing a tag end of
Sure.
a knot. No bead that sits over that metal ring, and the idea of the no bead is again so it doesn't impede your picture. On the end of the clip there, the lead clip, you need a lead of 4.5 ounces. You don't really want to go below 4.5 ounces because of the resistance of the float. When you're bringing it back down, you don't want the lead sliding towards you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
the one working against the other.
Sure.
So you want a decent lead, 4.5 ounce or above.
Yeah.
Should the lead get hooked up in something, if you're using 50-pound braid, the boom's designed to break below 50 pounds. The centre section there is 35-pound breaking
Right.
strain.
Okay. I think that's important then, isn't it? So really, if you're going to use one of these, you're much better off using it with a dedicated boom rather
Absolutely.
than like making one yourself
Absolutely.
and say, well, you might make one from lead core or whatever, as some people do,
without
and then
a doubt.
that's going to work
you
against
use
you.
the
isn't it?
proper boom, and then you've got that weaker section in the middle.
Sure.
You know, it's 35. It's going to withstand any cast.
Of course it is, but if you really, you'd rather lose half of that than lose your float. Right?
Absolutely, but to be honest, if you get any breakage whatsoever, it is set up, as long as you've set it up correctly, as we've said, and it's like a marker float. This is very buoyant. It's very buoyant. It's not like you struggle with sometimes with a marker float and it won't come up and you shake it and it, this comes up.
Right.
Boom, 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 boom.
Right.
So if you get any breakage, it's going to hit the surface.
Okay.
And it's very visible.
Yeah.
And
Just wait for it to drift
you
in.
wait for it to drift in.
Windward bank.
If you're on a lake where they've got a rescue boat, you might paddle out there and get it,
Yeah,
whatever.
sure.
But it's going to be on the surface. It's not going to be lost.
No.
It will come to the top easily.
Good, because I think that was when we first saw it.
Yeah.
One of our first thoughts was, "Well, crikey, what happens if you crack off?"
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of.
If you,
It's not like losing a
if you crack off,
$5.99
it floats back in.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's not like some products, baiting products, and that sit just below the surface of the water, and you can't see where they are, and that you see it.
Yeah.
You know,
You're getting that back.
Yeah,
aren't
you are getting that back, and with as long as you use the sleeve with it, it's very buoyant, it's very visible, and yeah, you're getting it back.
Brilliant. Right, mate. What are you doing?
Winding in.
What are you doing?
Is it? Winding in.
You having a
is it?
recast, are you?
I am. It's getting warmer out there, and I thought this was the deep water rod. These two are on features, and this one I'm going to move it up into the shallower water
Right.
just for the day. Sun's coming out.
You think the fish might be up in the water a little bit?
Yeah, I think they'll be up on the shallower spots. so.
What's that reel that you're using then? I've not
This
seen that
is-
one before.
No, this is a new one. This is the DL Black Edition.
Nice
speed-
compact, isn't it?
Yeah, speed runner. It's got a free spool system on it, adjustable at the back there, as normal, and a front clutch, twin handle, 5 bearing reel, nice and smooth.
Yeah, it looks really nicely balanced with that hand
it is,
as well.
Yeah, it's a nice little reel actually, to be honest.
It's quite fast on the retrieve for a reel
Yeah,
of that size
yeah.
as well. Notice you're not taking too long to
No,
get that
no,
in.
no,
Well,
it's coming.
that's a fair old range out, that rig, but
That's, yeah, I think this
far
one's
is it to
about
that
90. The island's about 110, I think I just at about 90.
Right,
On the
okay.
bottom of the trough, which is why I want to sort of go a little bit further and get it
Yeah,
up on the
sure.
shelf. But yeah, I think you see it comes in lovely and smooth.
looks the part as well.
Yeah.
Well, the whole black thing is
Yeah, it
very
all
much
sort
in
of goes
vogue now,
it
isn't
all
it?
sits in with the rod and everything. It's, yeah, it is very much the fashion
Yeah,
black gear.
yeah.
And I like it, it's a nice little
Cool. Well, that's nice, that. I'll leave you to it, mate.
All right, mate. This is an exciting way to start the morning. I've had a take on my left-hand rod at range. It's kited straight round and gone solid in something. I'm just hoping the fish is still on. just down here in front of me now. Not really sure, can't feel him, but oh, there's a lot of weed. Oh yeah, I can see him. He's quite a good one. Nice big mirror with a nice big snag on him. Oh God, in and out of the net. Come on, baby. We got him. We got him. He's a good one. Yeah, he's picked up a load of branches. Lots of branches. Oh, yeah, he's a nice one. Right, up he goes. Hey, steady, steady. £34. 34. Lovely job. He's a proper one. £34 mirror. Nice morning shout. Wasn't too early though, let me have a cup of tea before he picked it up, which is very considerate of him. And this is why we came to the quarry. A chance of a proper old big pit mirror. Well chuffed with this one. Over the moon. It's a bit of a gamble going to somewhere where you're not going to guarantee getting a few sort of doubles and 20s, but when you do get it pays off and you get a mid 30, makes it all worthwhile. That's a good thing about this lake, it's got some lovely fish in there. Some of them are ancient as well. This one could be sort of 30-year-old. Oh, thank you, Mr. Mirror. What a beast, eh? Right, let's slide him back home. Nice one. There we go. And do the old ski ramp. Off he goes. No, he's coming back. No. Oh, he's a big fatty, isn't he? You don't want to go.
Heard that unmistakable whoosh, mate. that's it, back out then, is it?
That's the one that's now on the shallow, yeah.
Sort of range is that at then?
About 10 years, probably about 100.
Right, okay,
yeah,
cool.
100.
You didn't take too much effort getting that out, is that?
No, it's these rods actually, these Black Edition rods.
Okay.
This is the 3.5. They're quite powerful rods.
Yeah, it certainly looked a bit powerful.
They're nice for playing fish on though. I had that 35 this morning on them. Lovely action, lovely playing action, but yeah, if you need to put it out there, they've got what you need.
So obviously you flip that, is that just the 3.5 then? Is that just an out-and-out casting rod?
No, we do, this is obviously the 3.5. We do 4 models. We do the 2 3/4, the 3, the 3 1/4 and the 3.5.
Oh, okay.
The 3.5 is the only one that comes with the 50mm buckle.
Right.
The others have got 40s. They're all good quality guides and fittings.
I like the reel seat. I'll tell you, I quite like the matte finish as well. It's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah.
And none of this kind of fake carbon wrap on it to make it look like something it's not.
No, it is Black Edition rod and it's black.
Cool, goes really well with the reel as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, it is sort of, you know, the way it's all going black at the moment. And I like it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's nice. It looks quite well balanced.
Yeah.
To say, when you took that out then, it didn't look too effort.
No, it does fly
too
out
much
there.
of an effort. But
And in the lighter models, you know, they're really nice as well.
Cool.
2 3/4 is beautiful.
Is it?
Rod. Yeah.
it's years since I've used a rod that light. It's like,
Yeah, but if you're fishing smaller lakes and that, you see guys with, you know, 3.5s on 3 acre lakes, you don't really need it.
It's not the one, is it?
It's nice to have that
No.
sort of lighter rod to play with. But when you're faced with something like this, you need
you've got to get it out there, haven't you?
proper tool for
Yeah.
the job, and this is it.
Yeah.
We've got, excuse me, we've got 2 other models as well, which is the Spod and Marker.
Okay, so it's like the whole family of rods then?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Cool. Okay, I'll leave you to it, mate.
Yep, all right,
nice one.
Okay, just a quick word about rigs. The 35 I had earlier, I had on a little arrangement that I've been using since the winter really. Normally I fish pop-ups a lot of the time over bait. Because I've been using smaller baits, chops, hemp, I got into using these little 12mm mainline wafters. Lovely little things they are. I soak them in a bit of dip just to stiffen them up a bit. But that's what I wanted, something small that would settle down on top of sort of hemp and chops. Now the rig I use is quite simple, quite basic, but very effective. I start off with one of these PB Products curved KD hooks in a size 8. Not a very big hook, got one out here, but they are extremely sharp. Straight out the pack, they are unbelievably sharp. They don't need any filing or tarting up. They're razor sharp, and they've got a lovely little curve. It's not too extreme, it's just enough to guarantee it's flipping over. It's just, that's the style of hook I like to the bottom. It's that slight curve to the shank. I also top them off with these extra stiff aligners, which is like a normal liner liner, which is just a little rubber sleeve that sits over the hook with a crank on it, and it's formed fatter at one end to go over the eye and the knot. But one little adjustment I always make, and this is only a personal thing, to any sort of a liner, they usually go round at that 45 degrees and then go straight. I don't want them straight, I want it to stay at 45 degrees, and that will help your hook flip. And then coated braid material, I've got the jelly wire here. Let's take off a bit of that. 1.5 foot, whatever that is. Try not to cut it too short because it's just harder to fiddle about with. And I strip off, I always measure this by holding it between my fingers, and I do from the tip of my middle finger to the ball of my hand. And I know that's going to be perfect for a twin bait. Strip the coating off. I've got a little stripper to do that, but I don't know where I've left it. Put it down in the bivvy. And first job, pop that through there, do a loop. I'm just doing a simple overhand loop in the end. You can actually do that before you put the hook on and put it on from the other end, but it's just my habit, the way I do it. And I put it through with a little lip hook needle. Pop it through, hook back through the loop. The gate on the needle shuts and lets you pull it through. Forms you the perfect little loop. Tighten that up. Just trim off the tag end. You want some decent sharp clippers really for using braid. Nothing worse than chomping away at it with blunt scissors. Now the length of your hair is going to equate to 2 of your wafters plus a little bit for a hinge. So something like that. So the bottom of the lower bait is still clear of the bend of the hook. Give that a little bit more. Trap that in, simple no knot. We all know how to do a no knot by now, don't we? Or knotless knot, or whatever you want to call it. Slide that back through the eye. Got to warm my glasses, all of this will be so much easier. No, we got it. hook's so sharp, I just touched it and it dug straight in my finger. So there you got your straightforward hair arrangement, and then you slide your little liner down from the other end, fat end first. Again, straight dug in. They are deadly, they just touch you and they're in. Like I say, it's got that fat formed section on the end which just sits over your eye and your knot perfectly. Just be careful you don't slip when you're pulling it down, because like I say, they are very sharp hooks. Twist that to the right angle, and there you can see that's now extended the curve round, so your line's coming out at that perfect angle that's just going, digging in wherever they touch, they're spinning round and digging in straight away. The only other little addition I put on there is a little teardrop tungsten bead. It's not essential, but it does help to keep the hook link pinned to the bottom, which are here. So this is just a little tungsten called downforce. Come on a little threader. Literally, you can just slide as many as you like really up your hook link. I just put one halfway up. Just open up the wire, pop your hook link in, slide one on. And although they're only little things, they're extremely heavy. Just slide that down your hook link. Down about there. That'll just pin that last little bit to the bottom. And this is going to sit on the bottom with the wafters, but just keeps the hook link down and out of your way, out the carp's way, more importantly. Poke that on a little bit further. That's it, it just needs 2 boilies. Pop a hair stop in there. Like I say, not the most complicated rig in the world, but very, very effective. And that is what you're left with. See, I've still got that bit of uncoated braid at the end there, and that gives it enough hinge to swim about when it's blown out. The wafter hook baits just slowly, I mean they do go really slowly, just sink to the bottom, just lay down like that, fish picks it up, it's pinned down by that, ejects it, you've got enough fold back for the hook to find a purchase. And that's what I've been using recently. Nails them. I had my biggest ever January carp, probably the 2nd or 3rd time I ever used it. Just had a 35 pounder on it just now. Proof's in the pudding.
Looks like a big old bed and sleeping bag here. Talk me through this one.
Right, it's a flat out sleeping bag for when you're flat out.
As you do.
It's got a removable inner for the winter,
okay.
So it's sort of an all year round bag.
So that's fleece lined, obviously.
That's fleece lined, yeah, nice and thick.
Gets a bit warmer, a bit quicker in the cold conditions, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's cut out so that you can have it round your neck, so you're not, you get that build up of moisture, you know, like when you're breathing into fleece, so you can get it right up around your shoulders, keep nice and warm. That's totally removable in the summer. The zips are nice on this. They're crash zips, but we've put in a baffle so when it zips up you don't get any wind through.
Yeah.
But also put in this layer of stiff material which stops that annoying catching. You know?
It is annoying as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you go to bang the zip open or even to tuck it up and you get a little bit of material caught in there. And
Obviously it's about halfway up as well, where it's just a bit too far to reach easily.
Prise it out, but that completely eliminates that.
Brilliant. I noticed the size of it. It's a big boy. Does it come in 2 sizes?
It comes in 2 sizes. You've got the standard width bed, and there's a lot of this big bed. You know, a lot of people have these huge, great things. So, you know, we've got the giant one, you know, the extra large
king
one.
Size, yeah,
king size one, and a normal size one. It's got clips all the way around that will go around your bed chair frame, whatever bed chair you've got. Yeah, you know, it's all fully adjustable. So once it's on there, it's staying on there, and it's also got. See that from there, roll that over, there you go. It's got a sleeve, top and bottom, to keep it all nicely.
Stop it moving around.
In position.
Cool.
It's not cold, it's warm. Yeah, it's a very, very nice bag, and like I say, you can use it all year round because of the removable inner. It's got a windproof top.
Can you, here you go, one for you, because I don't particularly like fleece on both sides,
Yeah.
even in the winter.
Yeah.
Can you put this in but that way round? So you've got fleece underneath for that warmth, but then this on the top for a bit of movement. It looks like you can, because the zips
just
are
swap
kind
the
of
zip
universal,
over.
aren't they?
Yeah.
I like that.
And if,
Yeah.
when you take that out in the summer, when you don't really want fleece, your top is a
Yeah.
cotton liner.
Yeah, perfect.
So you're not,
Cool.
not
Much easier for
overheating.
moving around in as well, that isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes fleece can get a little bit
Yeah,
stuck to you,
yeah.
but
when it
still,
is cold, that really does, bump up the
yeah,
heat a bit.
massively. Yeah.
Keeps all the heat, traps it all in the fleece.
Cool. Excellent. Like that, mate.
Yeah, nice
Good.
bag. Well, that's about it then. Everything's packed away apart from the rods, and the end of quite a successful session, really, to be honest. It was always a bit of a gamble. It always is with these things, because I'm in charge of picking the venue. Actually catching for the camera can be a little bit stressful, to be honest. But I had a choice, really. I could have picked somewhere where I got, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 guaranteed fish, doubles and maybe a 20 if I was lucky. But it's not really sort of indicative of what I do week to week, month to month. So I thought I'd go all in and come to a big fish water down at the quarry, try and get a big fish. And as you saw, it worked. I had 2 20-pounder, which is a big fish anyway, but a 35-pound mirror to top it off. So I think I made the right choice. One very happy chappy, off back to Suffolk. I'll see you all later.